got I so I did it for you.
Cool.
But anyway, that was the fun of my last week, and then on top of that, the baseball game. So it was just kind of funny because when I walked in the field, I was behind the plate, and these were um, 15 to 17-year-old guys, and I'm like, what are you going to do to me here that I haven't already encountered earlier today? And actually the game went well, so it was just kind of comical.
Cool.
And then this Saturday I was back at it again doing my thing. So was at Bethesda Park, very nice park, very nice people. But man, were there a lot of people this weekend driving cars and everything else because some people are finishing up spring break from private school. Others are getting ready in public school. It'll soon be hitting us. Easter's coming up for those of the West. Those of the East, we have to wait a little bit. That's just how it is. Um, what else is going out there? Some people aren't happy with Trump. Yeah, I said his name.
I
And
was just going to say what we're going to be talking a little bit about today is just to get to know us a little bit and share some ideas. I always believe that if we hear ideas or thoughts and opinions, doesn't mean we're always right, but it gives us an
right.
opportunity to explore how we think, how other people might be thinking, that type of thing. So, um, we might talk a little bit about politics today.
Hmm.
We're going to talk maybe a little bit about business and finance, which
Oh yeah,
I did
absolutely.
last week, and
Uh,
maybe a little bit of sports. It's that time of year where,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Final Four. What's going on out there? Who's going to get there? Now we determining Sweet 16. Alabama went crazy and tore up their opponent last evening. A lot of arguments now here, Tom, in youth sports, which I've seen quite a few, particularly in the baseball persuasion of those that wear the blue uniform, or I should say, those of blue, uh, my brothers and sisters. It's really saddens me to see adults lose control and go after an umpire. It just is amazing. Um, and that's never happened to me. I think there's a right way and a wrong way to handle things. Uh,
yeah,
I think that's half your battle, uh, because there's always things you can do out there,
yeah,
and you de-escalate things. I just to share something. People that don't even want to say our pledge anymore, they talk through it or are so nonchalant about things. Kind of sad in the public school system. I won't mention schools or whatever, but I get to hear things, and it's crazy.
yeah. I'm sure you do. I remember when I was in photography doing youth sports. I didn't see it at the level you did, but the craziest group of athletes and parents were when I did hockey. I
Yes.
saw they are all type A's, man. These kids
Yeah.
are just, they're wired to that. They can't sit still. They got to be hitting something. They got to be smacking something. They knocked my lights over. They did all sorts of crazy stuff when I'd shoot them on the ice. But yeah, it was. Um, and then did baseball tournaments, that type of thing, and
Oh, man. All over a call out or safe ball strike, and
yeah,
when you and that's kind of how I slow it down in my mind. I'm not the best, but I'm just saying if you approach things a certain way and take control, but you don't have to be a control freak, but just say, hey, here are the parameters, this is how we're doing this. And it's really about the kids. It's sad to see adults, even in basketball, AAU level, very competitive, they're fighting one another over their child gets fouled real hard, and then the next thing you know, there's a fight. It's crazy. Even happens in high school basketball.
yeah,
It's stupid, why it's happening. And I think the reason these things are happening is it's, the people now that are having children at ages of 10 through, 17, they're not all, but their approach to bringing people into the world and raising them and, there's a lot of things to be said about that, how you approach it. Um, I'd never dream of not participating in the pledge. I think I wouldn't have been able to sit for a while, but it's just different. We've got this thing out there called NIL, and NIL's even affecting high school now, indirectly or directly. Crazy stuff. And when you break it down, some of these student athletes, they've been catered their entire lives, from youth all the way to high school. Now they get into college. No wonder some of these college coaches lose their cookies and yell, scream, and carry on. They run a real tight ship. And I get it. I'm not making fun of it. There has to be discipline. And I think that's a nasty word, discipline. People hate that word, Tom. And like you've often said, and I've heard other people say it, if you can't control yourself, how can you lead and help others? You can't. So, and there are individuals that have anger management problems. It's pure and simple.
Too much sugar, man. They're eating way too much
Is that what it is? Well, let me take a sip of water here, but yeah, maybe you're right.
Last week I did a presentation on my journey to where
Yeah.
from a 5%er to a becoming a 5%er in net worth in 10 years, my journey and all that type of thing. One thing I mentioned was, and I was going to just build on a little bit today, just in concept without getting in a lot of detail, is your assets. What's your most valuable asset that you have?
Right.
And I would first say your health. It's tangible. You have control of it. A lot of your decisions you made have gotten to a place where you're not healthy. I can relate to that. Eating the wrong foods, gaining too much weight, blood sugar issues, whatever. We live in a society of chronic health issues.
Yes.
And I mentioned that briefly last week, was that, stress is one of the greatest causes of chronic illness, and money is the greatest cause of stress in an individual's life or in our culture. And so if we can manage and understand some basic concepts, number one, your greatest asset is your health. Without your health, it doesn't make any difference. You could be a billionaire. I don't know if you knew, but I know of a billionaire that didn't live. He died here a year ago or two. So what did all that money do when you didn't manage your health well? And boom, he's not here today. That's sad, but it was all in his control. He didn't have to perish that way. So I won't mention names, but a lot of people may know him out there. But yeah, our health is the greatest asset. But, one of the things that we don't look at in our areas of assets, understand the types of assets that they're out there.
Sure.
We got, they're classified in different ways. One is a tangible asset. That's a physical items like your cash, your income, real estate, machinery if you're in business, inventory if you're in business. Intangible assets, non-physical items with value, including patents, copyrights, trademarks, and intellectual property. Current assets, short-term assets expected to convert into cash within 1 year, such as cash, inventory, or accounts receivable. That's business assets. Non-current fixed assets, long-term assets used for operations such as land, buildings, and equipment. Personal assets, items owned by individuals to add to their net worth, including homes, savings accounts, cars, and investments. Those are the categories. But I think the one asset that why I was always intrigued is the passive income. A lot of people get all hung up. I got to make $100,000 a month to get hyped into network marketing. I'm going to make $20,000, $30,000 a month, $100,000 a month. That's fine. There's people out there doing it. But I always ask this question: what would an extra $5,000 or $500 a month do for you and your family of income? If you had a vehicle that generated $500 a month every month, that's an asset. You got a business that's generating cash flow. And I've done well in network marketing. I haven't been a big hitter. I haven't been one of those gurus out there say I've made X. But I tell you what, the amount of money I've made and things I've learned about living below your means and taking that extra money, put it to work, put it into mutual funds, put it in your retirement accounts, put it into investment strategies, made a big difference in my life. So you don't have to make $10,000 a month to be financially free. You can do it $400 or $500 a month. Keep that game plan going for a period of time, and you're at some point in time you'll be financial free. You'll have the assets to give you more freedom. So assets. Your health is number one. Your income's number two. Where is your income being generated? If you're working for somebody, who's in control of that income? Somebody else. I never believed in that principle. Is that, we see people getting laid off, downsizing. AI comes in, maybe affecting people's income. May improve it, may also be negative as well. But your assets are what you're looking for. So it doesn't have to be big. $400 or $500 a month in most families or most individuals is a big deal. It pays off maybe the credit card, so you the first time maybe get emergency fund set up, put money away for your kids' college education, take advantage tax advantages there. Lots of benefits. It doesn't have to be big money, but little money adds to big money over time if you understand the principle of Rule 72 and compounding interest. And when you get a little bit of assets, then you get a professional to get involved with you, a fiduciary investment advisor that can handle your finances and meet your objectives more effective because they have the resources of knowledge that you may not have.
Right.
And leverage that. Changes everything. So that's a little bit about what, building off of last week is having assets. Doesn't have to be big, but you got to save that first dollar. That's an asset. It's an asset. That dollar will double over time depending on what type of return you're going to get on it. And over time value of money, that asset, most people don't have any assets.
Right.
Say that 60% of the American people live paycheck to paycheck. You imagine what's happening now. It's a little political. The TSA people, essential workers, aren't getting paid. A lot of them are quitting and having to go get another job because,
Wow.
So my objective in my wife, she's the one that has the discipline. I just implemented help her implement the strategies. But if those people had a game plan and a strategy to get 3 to 6 months income or more, the ideal situation, 1 to 3 years of emergency fund.
Right.
To cover your expenses, your rent, your mortgage, your car payments, the essentials, your health insurance.
Tom, why are they leaving TSA agents?
They don't have a paycheck.
Yeah, but I'm saying why is this happening?
Oh,
because I hear the pro of it is if you privatize it, you wouldn't have all these issues.
Now the government's partially shut down.
Right.
The politicians on one side of the aisle don't care. They have an agenda to shut down ICE and not make this country safe. Eliminating ICE and mandating.
It's either the border or TSA or like what you're talking about. That's what I'm leading into. It's just crazy. So it's like one party pitted against another. Okay, choose. You don't want ICE, or do you want the border secure, or should?
If you really want to dive deep, and I'll just put it this way:
right.
those with a D behind their name, they don't give a shit about you. They
Right.
don't. It's all about their power.
Right.
And they're no longer Americans, in my opinion.
Right.
They've been persuaded to be leftist socialists, and I'll even go as far as it is Nazi Islamic radicals.
We got to get some comments now, man. Get out there, and feel free, man. We'll take your comment, and you can debate us. You can give us your side of the fence of what you think, and that's cool. There's no argument here.
Well, we got Robert Booker. Thanks for coming on. You want to point fingers at a country that is way left is Canada.
Robert, is that true? We got an alert on that. Is that true, Robert? And to think, man, I would go to Algonquin State Park every year when I was a kid growing up from Pennsylvania. That was the big Gasser camping trip, man. We look forward to that. That was a pleasure. Canada is beautiful, though. By the way, Robert, I will tell you that I can still see it in my mind. Very beautiful. Always fun to watch those brown bears as you're setting up your tent. That was always exciting too. Yeah,
put your food up in a tree.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't bug you as long as you don't bug them. But yeah, you learn to do things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, TSA, a lot of these folks are living paycheck to paycheck. They have to quit. They have to go get another job. They just, they're essential workers in our security system of our country. And it's all over wanting to fund ICE, eliminating ICE. And that's not going to happen. I guarantee you that is not going to happen. It's common sense. We have people out there that are enemies to what we stand for, our liberties, our freedoms, the Western way of life, politically, and they want to eradicate our system. And I'm a veteran. Mark, you're a veteran. We took an oath to defend this country, but we got enemies within. And just people may not like that, but that's the truth.
Just, you keep talking about TSA. The lines at the Houston airport turned into like a 3-floor nightmare because of the staffing shortage. So then they had to bring in ICE agents, as Trump recommended, to the U.S. airports. And, they were deployed. This is true. 14 different airports. So
I'm going to make this statement, bring it to people's attention. You got a politician named Jeffries, the last name. He's in New York. He made a comment about Trump bringing in ICE agent at the TSA to help support getting people to flow through. And he said he made the comment that ICE is going to go there to attack the American citizens and kill them. What's wrong with that dude, man? He's part of this problem. He's a radical. He's saying that ICE is going to deliberately go out and hurt people or kill people.
Right.
But they have no clue what's going on. So, but anyway, he angers me. I could be in the old days. I could be a violent person. If I saw him today, I might want to punch him. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. I'll probably get a knock on the door by the FBI or something. I'm threatening.
I won't worry about it. But it's interesting that like the wait times, 4 to 6 hour wait times, man, just to get through that, to get processed. Because when this first happened, they were saying you need to now get at the airport, at least 4 hours before your flight. And this is why. I don't fly a lot now, and thank God I don't. I have no idea what it's like. Depends on where you're flying from and to. And I'm sure Atlanta's no exception. You know, I'm sure they've have their share of issues,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of people called in sick, or it's short staffed because of like you said, the government shutdown. And I don't understand that thinking. Yeah, let's shut it down. Let's hurt people. And these are the people that make these choices and decisions. And some of them are older than even you and I, Tom. And don't you think it's time we start getting some new blood into the House and Senate? This is a pet peeve of mine. Don't you think it's time, America? And don't say, yeah, we can vote. No, we need to have instituted term limits for these individuals.
And I also, yeah, I believe in that as well. We have term limits with presidents,
Take away their power.
for senator or Congress people.
Yeah.
We have a lifetime position at the Supreme Court, and I don't believe that's a good idea either.
Yeah, I don't.
But here's the thing: term limits. These politicians, if they promote shutting down the government, their paycheck should be stopped as well. That would stop a lot of this.
Right.
Because a lot of these people, if they lost their income, they'd be figuring how to climb the tree again, So
Tom, what you're telling me is if there's a shutdown right now, it doesn't affect their wallet, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's probably getting fatter because you got people out there want to support those causes of open borders,
right?
Non-deportation of illegals, the worst of the worst, as Trump talks about, and they're making claims that ICE is deliberately beating American citizens up, arresting them, and detaining them, and killing Americans. Well, if you try to run somebody over, that's assault, and a cop has a right to defend himself.
Right.
And that other guy that got killed, he was packing a gun, and guess what? I was in law enforcement, and you see a gun, you are on total alert.
Sure.
And you're going to react because you see a gun. It's not your interpretation, not their intent that you're trying to evaluate.
Right.
If you see a gun, the intent is they're going to shoot you. There's no other evaluation. So you're going to have a right to protect yourself. And, that's a split decision. Second, you can't say, well, I wonder what his real intent is, just to scare me. Doing a good job of that, but is he going to kill me?
Right.
Are you going to get a social worker out there to find out what's wrong in his life? Maybe he's way too many drugs or whatever the case may be, but
that's true.
Yeah, but so, and then we got the Iran thing.
Yeah, but
gas price has gone up. That's okay with me. It's going to be short term. We got to solve a problem with that part of the geopolitical environment with Iran. They've been at war with for 47 years. 47 years. Think about it. People are criticizing Trump for what? To be forever wars. He's ending it. He's ending wars. And he's doing it quickly. He's not attacking the citizens. He's attacking nuclear threat. People say, oh, they're far from delivering a nuclear. I say BS. The fact they're trying to, that's enough to take them out. Because if they had one, they'd use it.
Right.
They would deliver it,
Crazy times.
Yeah.
Do you ever think we? Oh, it's my pleasure. Anybody else out there? I know Robert said hi. Feel free if you stumble on this to share it. But these are some of the things we're going to talk about. Things are very interesting right now. That's what Robert said. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Even in athletics now, we have all sorts of things going on, which I'm not going to touch on everything, but, what athletes get paid, which, yeah, I'm all for it. Um, God bless them. They do deserve that. They've earned it, I should say. In
Well,
base,
it really comes down to it's business.
right?
They're an asset to a business owner. The
Mhm.
person who owns that baseball team, basketball, or football makes that person a lot of money. It's like a movie actor. If he drives 10 million people to the theater, he should get a piece of that.
Absolutely,
So it's the actor that got the people to the
right.
theater, right? Their skills, their talent, their acting, their singing, whatever the case may be. I have no problem with the athletes making 30 million a year. I don't, so, but because they're making the business side of that enterprise billions of dollars. So they wouldn't be willing to pay them that much if they weren't getting something bigger in return, I guarantee you.
Right.
So they're assets, and assets should have the ability to earn what the market will bring. That's real estate, that's stock investments, that's all those things are assets in a marketplace that dictates value. Your home, right?
Right.
The marketplace that dictates the value of the home. Well, people try to, criticize affordable housing. Well, you let 20 million illegal aliens in, it eats up the supply of housing. When there's a shortage, there's an increase in cost. Plain simple economics, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Right.
You start eliminating the influx of people and getting rid of those that didn't come here illegally. I'm not against immigration. Do it right. If you don't have borders and ways to assimilate into a country, you don't have a country. You have chaos, and we're starting to see a lot of this chaos come out politically. Their ideas are just absolutely no common sense. When you got somebody like Jeffrey saying that ICE at the airport to help support TSA is going to attack people and kill Americans, he's a sick. He wants it. He wants an incident. He wants a problem. That's what's sad about this, is that that's what they want.
Right.
In my opinion, we're in a deep revolution, and the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party I grew up under. John F. Kennedy, he'd be a conservative in today's environment.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And all I was going to say is, Tom, and you were talking about sports. The guy that always comes to my mind is a gentleman by the name of, you can Google this, anybody listening to this, his name's Curt Flood. And the baseball players have him to thank because he challenged that reserve clause way back in the day. And you can check out his whole life, and he went through a living hell, because he really did challenge the system. And,
yeah. And then Roberto Clemente was also involved in that as well.
Far from perfect, but the guy did do some good for baseball in that aspect. And that's when players started to realize, hey, there is some substance to what this guy's talking about, and look at the numbers they make. And it's like you said, whether we like it or not, it's entertainment.
Yeah. College sports with the name, image, and likeness. I think that has, a matter of fact, it's such a big issue that Trump's encouraged Congress to look at it and shape this thing up a little bit.
Well, even Nick Saban talked before Congress, and I think Trump was there or something. I can't remember. Just I saw a little bleep of something, but it's the Wild West, and it's got to get regulated.
Yeah. Don't they get scholarships to get free education if they a scholarship player?
Yeah. How does that?
That's a big paycheck for most people anyway, right? What does it cost to go to one school like Wisconsin or Ohio State or Penn State or you name it, Alabama, Georgia? Well, not as much as say Ohio State or Stanford or whatever the case may be, but
there's another good school. But yeah, that'd be interesting to look at. if you're getting NIL money, why do you even need a scholarship? I'm just like, why? You know,
Yeah.
it's just, and that's the crazy thing about it. And then having these guys able to maneuver back and forth through the transfer portal. There ought to be like after the second time you do it, then you got to sit out for a year or something. You just can't. Or you have guys that are 26 years old playing college athletics because they can just transfer back and forth here, there, and everywhere. Uh, it's crazy stuff, man. Um,
When I was playing football, I had Division One, Pac-12 offers come to me and scholarships and that type of thing. And I mean, $2,500 was a big deal, man. That was, hey, $2,500 scholarship. That covered all the costs of going to school, paid for all the tuition and room and board and even the books almost, So that was back in the late 60s, early 70s. Now what's it cost to go to a university? 40, 50,000 a year?
yeah, it's crazy. Oh, here's one. And this came from you were talking about TSA, and this was reported up to 9-hour lines they had at the Atlanta airport, Hartsfield International. So, yeah, as ICE agents arrived to assist TSA. How about that? 9 hours. Can you imagine that? 9
You could
hours.
probably drive to your next destination in 9 hours, right?
Yeah. I mean, and even my wife said the same thing. If you're planning a spring break, and some of these people were doing that, and I'm like, well, you knew what was going on. Why would you devil yourself and try and fly? I mean, just think about logic. I mean, come on. You could get somewhere 4 to 8 hours, depending on where you're going. If you're going to St. Pete Beach, it's about an 8-hour ride from my place to there. I'd rather choose to drive it than sit around in the airport and maybe by the next day I get out of there or whatever the case may be. But
Yeah, crazy.
and while we were talking about money, Tom, here's my fame one, and you and I've touched on it. So after COVID, we would hear people in hospitality, particularly restaurants, they had to up their pricing to make up for what they lost. Understood. And then you also get into the logistics and shipping end of things, and there were additional fees for that. So if you took a magic wand and waved it and said, we're going to do away with costs for your products that you need to run your business, whether you're in hospitality or logistics, do you think they'd lower their pricing on the menu, or do you think they'd lower their pricing on the logistical side if they're shipping things from point A to B? I'm just asking you that. I'm not trying to be funny, but how do you feel
You
about
know,
that?
it's just it's a complicated answer because you've got inflation goes up. Inflation, when it goes down, it doesn't reduce the cost. It
Sure,
sets a new threshold, and that's what's big happening. We had poor economic decisions made, policies,
sure.
whatever that increased inflation over a 4-year period under Biden, 22%. That becomes embedded into as a new plateau.
Hmm.
So the whole goal is keeping costs lower, reducing cost in the marketplace,
Right.
regulations, cost of energy. Energy is the number one cost of any business out there. That's it takes a truck to get it there, a train or an airplane or something. Takes energy in manufacturing, electricity, heat, gas, you name it. If the price comes down, the increase previous is already embedded and it doesn't come back down. What you want to do is minimize it as low as you can. I think one of the biggest areas that we can improve our economy is get rid of regulations on businesses that are supporting woo-woo ideas,
Right.
environmental stuff that has been debunked, that's only adding cost, and get rid of that. Or even in real estate, new home construction, I know a real estate developer. I was in real estate, and a lot of the regulations are, today, a new home here in Wisconsin area, around Milwaukee or the southeastern part of Wisconsin, there's about $100,000 in regulatory fees built into the construction of a new home. So you're buying a new home for 400,000, 100,000 of it is just BS. They could be handled in the property taxes, which are high already. Like water retention ponds and that type of stuff in subdivisions. They added in, they get paid twice. They get it on the developer. There's 70 grand you got to put into the price of the home to cover the quote, a regulation I think is important for the environment to protect frog or whatever the case may be. And that gets in. So if you can eliminate those type of regulations, housing would become more affordable. A lot of people don't realize that. The interest rates too, bringing those down, how that impacts. But you take the average home, a new home construction, 100 grand of it is, and you probably put that, you probably in your community, it's probably no different than here in our Wisconsin area. Probably good 100 grand of that new construction cost, selling that house, is in regulations.
Right.
Have no value to the home. It's just government has these, quote, ideas that are going to protect the environment or control growth or whatever. Most of them don't want growth, so they're going to price you out of the market. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's my comeback on that.
Well, cool. I just thought I'd share that with you, but yeah, I'm not going to bore people. They can go, and I'm sure they've seen it. But I mean, the lines, like, can you imagine 9 hours? I mean, geez, that's insane. But
I stopped traveling in airplanes about 2 or 3 years ago. Just even the lines there, get there an hour and a half, 2 hours before your takeoff, and the BS. And
but you hit the nail on the head. It's the ultimatum. Like, either open up the borders, get rid of ICE. So now we're going to penalize people that want to travel. It's just, it's so stupid. It's like, and now we're going to have a shutdown. And I never did understand what that accomplishes. But like you said, they get paid regardless. So it doesn't affect them. And that's my whole point, is that's why we need term limits. Because there are some real morons that because they want power, which you've talked about, they do things of this nature.
Yeah, they've gotten away. One side of the aisle has gotten far away from our Constitution, what this government was set up on, the principles. This is the greatest country that's ever been on earth. Why do people want to come here? Right, Mark?
Yeah. No, I absolutely. Yeah. Why do they want to come here? Because, man, they want all the goodies.
Well, that's drawing a lot of them here. That's why they want to stop the voting law, making sure that you can demonstrate you're an American citizen to vote. They passed that constitutional amendment here in Wisconsin. You have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. No big deal. Your driver's license renewal and stuff handles all that here in Wisconsin. So, and you had to demonstrate your citizenship to get a driver's license. So, it's not a big deal.
That is a big deal, though, depending on where you're from. I know around here, it says here, Robert said, I heard yesterday that there are no tariffs to bring a car from Mexico to the United States now. And that is from a guy whose business is finding and buying cars in Mexico for people in the U.S. and Canada. That's interesting.
Does that exist, used cars, or that the new cars? I know that.
Is that new or used cars, Robert? You can just put it in the comment. That's fine. But yeah, he put in those last two comments. Interesting. How interesting.
I know part of what Trump's doing is dropping tariffs if they make the cars here in the United States.
Right.
If not, you're going to pay a hefty price. So he's bringing back industrial power back to the United States, more jobs.
He said these are used cars, older cars that collectors might want.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the car market and tariffs and stuff. With new car development. If you're making cars in Mexico, you're going to pay a hefty tariff to get them in the United States.
Oh, he's got a website, MexicanSpec.com. Yeah, there it is. You can check that out, everybody.
Cool.
That's what Robert was referring to in his comments. How interesting. I guess it depends on the specification. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
Well, I guess those collectors want to get those cars from Cuba, that they're 1952 sedans and 56 sedans here in the United States, to really get those collectors out without paying a tariff, I guess.
Yeah.
You ever seen what they drive in Cuba?
Yeah, they're not palatial palaces on wheels.
But that may become a territory of the United States in a short period of time, which would be good for the Cubans, be good for the American economy. That'd be a vacation destination. And probably people saying, well, Trump's just going to build some big hotels down there. So what?
Yeah.
But it'll be good.
What else? What else didn't we cover? We talked about personal things. We've talked about what's going on in the world a little bit. Talked to world of sport. Just curious. Like, does anybody have a favorite in the NCAA? Basketball tournament? Is there some team that you're?
Well, it's going to be a Big Ten team that's going to win the national championship. We got 6 teams in the final 16, or Sweet 16. I think Michigan's going to win it, or Purdue. And my damn Badgers lost to, what was that school? High Point.
Yeah, who'd they? Oh, yeah, that's right. High
By
Point.
2 points. By
Yeah.
2 points. They had a 12 or 13 point lead with 5 minutes.
Just for fun and games, I got crazy here. Yeah, St. Louis 72, Michigan 95, and that happened over the weekend. Michigan State 77, Louisville 69. There you go. There's some big.
Illinois, Nebraska,
Texas A&M, like Houston destroyed them 88-57. Duke, they took care of business with TCU 81-58. How about that? That's the second round. The Sweet 16. Who do we got? Look at this. You got Texas going against Purdue, Iowa against Nebraska, Arkansas against Arizona. This is fact. Illinois against Houston.
Yeah, Iowa beat Florida, national champs.
How about that? St. John's, Rick Pitino getting another team in there against Duke. That's going to be a good game. That happens Friday. And then Alabama, who do they play? They play Michigan on Friday. And then here's some more Big Ten, Michigan State and UConn. Those are 2 tough teams, man. That UConn.
Anything past Tom Izzo, his teams.
Right.
He didn't do well in the previous season, in my opinion, to his standard his teams play at. But when it comes to the NCAA, don't bet against Tom Izzo.
And then you also have, I forgot these guys, Tennessee and Iowa State.
Iowa State's pretty good.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. There's no gimmies, but the team that UConn team, Hurley, Coach Hurley, he's a good coach. His dad was a high school coach, and he played college, obviously, and a little bit of pro, and he runs a tight ship, very demanding. They took care of business against UCLA last night, so it'll be interesting to see.
UCLA was the weakest, in my opinion, of all the Big Ten teams there. Even though Pat Badgers lost first round, but
I think that Purdue Texas game is going to be a goodie because you got number 2 against number 11. Purdue's number 2. So, but you can't go by that now, man. You're talking Sweet 16. Anything can happen. You have an off night, you're doomed. Yeah. So, Alabama and Michigan, I think that'll be a good game. You got the number 1 pick of Michigan against the number 4 of Alabama. That they went crazy and shot it lights out last night, Alabama. So, yeah.
I think Michigan's going to win it.
You're going to pick them to do everything, take care of business?
Yeah. They're probably 2 Big Ten, my opinion, be 2 Big Ten teams playing for the national championship.
I guess my
Illinois is pretty good. Badgers beat Michigan. Mm-hmm. They beat Illinois. They beat Purdue. And then they lose to whatever that High Point.
I think that other game is number 3 versus 2 is Illinois at 3 and Houston 2. That's going to be a goodie. That's Thursday. They play Thursday. So, yeah, that'll be a good one. Should be. Yeah. Nebraska, Iowa, I don't know. That's it could go either way there. That's 9 versus 4.
Nebraska played really strong early part of the season. They lost a little bit of the momentum and then came back. So who knows? Hey, these are good. The Big Ten is a good, powerful conference.
Yeah.
But, Florida, I think they should have played that freshman they've got that's 6'8" or 9 or 7 foot, 7 foot 8 or 9. He played in one game. He didn't even have to jump to dunk the ball. That would be just intimidating to have him on the floor.
Yeah. I think that St. John's and Duke game is going to be a goodie, too.
St. John's pretty good. They played.
Oh, Rick put out a shabby product, that's for sure. He's a good coach.
All right. So we're it's almost halftime. We're almost done, man.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes to say adios, but that's all I have for today. This was kind of fun, just something different, and I love the music. Maybe we ought to close it out with that music, but like I said, if anybody out there wants to talk about something, has a subject or has a passion, reach out to myself on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. The same with Tom. You can go to our emails. I don't care. If you want to let us know, hey, you guys blow lunch and you need to get off the air, we're big boys. We can take it.
If you got a cause, purpose,
yeah,
we'd love to have you on, whether it be business, whether it be politics, whether it be faith. It doesn't make any difference. We're just about, just having dialogue and from different points of view, and that's what it should be. I'm a Charlie Kirk person. Hey, just let's talk. Let's put your views out there and convince me different.
Absolutely.
Don't try to punch me in the face. Get your point across.
I don't think I can do that, man. If I tried to do it, it'd be like, I'd have to come across up here and I lost my fist. See, it won't go there. It won't reach. Yeah, see, it's going straight, but I'm not feeling it, It's a virtual fight,
All right.
So much for virtual things. But anyway, Tom, thank you again for sharing. And that's all we have for this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, how about a little applause here? There we go. And next week, same time, same station. Hopefully we'll have a guest. I will have news on how Stephen Bott does this coming Saturday.
yeah. I was going to ask about that. This is the week,
championships
right?
for the American Legion Oracle.
How many people will he be competing against, Tom? Do you know off the top of your
15 to 16
Okay.
kids, young adults, not kids. These are young adults, 15 years old, 16, 17. Yeah. Smart kids.
Yes.
Hopeful.
Smart out there. We have kids today.
Yeah. Well, my friend, we will just say thank you.
I guess
we'll sign.
Get out. Yep.
And adios. See you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us.
Now I'm pulling shots. I won't stop, so don't confront too much. I'm supposed to be a grunt. Watch my back and also front. You drop it off.